Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am your host, Ken Canion, the host of Love, Lust, and Lies. And on today's show, it is very important that people understand that narcissism is a real thing, a la Donald Trump. And people who are in relationships with narcissists many times don't know what to do. First of all is they got to be able to identify that I am dating a narcissist. And I'm going to give you the definition of what that is. And I'm going to give you the 12 signs today to know you are dating a narcissist. All right. And probably tomorrow, I'm going to give you how to deal with it, how to overcome it. If you've been dating a narcissist, and many times when you've been dating someone who is a narcissist or narcissism, what happens is it really does something to deflate you. It does something to diminish your self-esteem. It does something in a way that many times um, it 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 causes you to believe later about to believe something about yourself that is not necessarily true. And so what I want to do today is I want to identify the signs that when you are dating someone who is a narcissist. But first of all, let me tell you what a narcissist is. Let me use Google. And so Google says narcissistic or narcissism is a personality disorder, one of several types of personality disorders. It's a mental condition in which people have an inflated sense of their own importance. Okay? A deep need for excessive attention and admiration, all right, which leads to trouble in relationships. And they have a lack of empathy for others. Does that sound like somebody we know, aka Donald Trump? Now, this ain't about Donald Trump, okay? Narcissism, your specialty? Okay, good. Nuri. All right, so what I wanted to do today is I want you to understand that this type of personality, this type of person, is someone you should probably run from. Now, you don't know what it is, so the doctor of love, KC, also known as Ken Canion, also known as that dude, I'm gonna give it to you today, and I'm gonna show you. And because the reason why I want you to avoid a narcissistic person is because when narcissistic people take hold in your life, it is like a seed that is planted and it grows into many things that are not good. All right, you ever been around a narcissist? They make you feel bad. Many times, they make you feel bad about yourself. All right, they make you feel bad about who you are. All right, and if you're not strong in your own self worth, if you're not strong in your own self value, they can diminish you. All right, so what I want you to do is I want to give you these signs, and so that you understand who it is you're dealing with and what that looks like. Okay. But first of all, let me tell you, narcissism in and of itself, and this is the part you got to understand, it is rooted in insecurity. It is a need to offset the insecurity with overwhelm of adoration, admiration, and validation. Okay? They want to offset the insecurity that they have, so there is a need for admiration, validation, and adoration. Okay? Admiration, adoration, and validation. So now, what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about how you actually the signs of them, y'all. Because you ever been around somebody and they always talk about themselves. They always allude to themselves. So what I wanted to do was break down actually what it looks like, what it sounds like, and what are the signs of narcissism. Because the truth of the matter is, I can tell you how to deal with it once you get in it, but this video won't be about that. I'm trying to avoid you getting in it right now. I want you to identify, look at the person that you're dealing with and say, do they fit these characteristics? All right. And then what I would tell you is if you've dealt with one, I would tell you how to deal with it, what it does, and all of that. So let me give you the 12 steps, 12 signs to know that you're dealing with a person who has an inflated, who is essentially a narcissist. Okay. And as I said before, narcissism is rooted in insecurity because you need, it's a way to offset the insecurity with the need to overwhelm that insecurity with adoration, admiration, and validation. All right, run the other way. Here you go. How do you know? Number one, bap, bap, bap. Number one, it's always me talk. Okay, they're the subject of every conversation. You know, they ramble on about how great they are. Now, they want to hear themselves talk about how great they are. However, what a true narcissist want, they want you to talk about how great they are. So what they do is they'll skew the conversation around, what did you think about what I did? What do you think about what I have? What do you think? They are self-centered questions about themselves so that they can hear you talk about them. See, a true narcissist will talk about themselves, but it is important for them to hear you talk about themselves, for you to talk about. So they'll ask you conceited questions like, I know you like my car. I just got this car. I got this car. You know, I just got this car, and it's only one in the city. I got the car. Oh, you like my new shoes? Tell me, you know what? I got these shoes. I picked them up in Italy, and nobody in Greensboro is going to have these shoes. And what they want you to do is give them adoration or admiration about those shoes or that thing. It's always me incorporated. So a narcissist, the conversation is centered around me. Number two, exaggerated language. You know you're dealing with a narcissist when they have exaggerated language. And let me show you what I mean by exaggerated language. So you're with the person, and the person tells you, you know, I found this lady's pocketbook. I got the lady back her pocketbook. But they don't tell it to you like that. They don't tell it to you like, I got the pocketbook, I took the lady the pocketbook. What they tell you is a story that makes them look like the hero. They say, you know what? I remember I saw this lady's pocketbook, and I had to hop over 3 benches, and I saw somebody about to grab it, and I ran over and grabbed it from them. And I ran the lady down. I had to run a mile to get to the lady, and I was sweating. And as she was about to get into her car, I said, ma'am, here's your purse. I saved the day. And it's more about, not about the event, it is about them inside of the event. They have to look like the hero. They have to look impressive. Don't y'all remember when Donald Trump said, when he would talk about what he did, he would tell lies. You know what? I have lowered taxes more than any other person in history. Do you guys remember those conversations? And people would tell him, would say, that's a damn lie. That is a lie. But no, it isn't a lie. And so what happens is it is exaggerated language. Everything is. So when they're telling the story, they're not just telling the story, they're telling the story with extras on it. Extras on it, but the extras are always about what they did because they have to look like the hero. They have to look impressive. They have to be impressive. They have to have you to talk about it. So what do? They use exaggerated language. Number three, zero follow through. See, most narcissists, all right, they'll talk about what they're gonna do. How many times did Trump talk about how many times did Trump talk about what he was going to do? And at the end he didn't do anything. Nothing. See, what a narcissist does is it is important for them to talk about what they're going to do, but if you call them, make them accountable, they have zero. I have zero follow through. Yeah, I know somebody like that too, Daniel. Zero follow through. And so what happens is, you know, it's big for them to talk about it, all right, but they don't want to follow through. And they don't want you to call them out on it. And so what happens is when a narcissist, they talk big. They talk like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do that, so that you can look up to them. So that you can be like, oh yeah. So that you can be like, yeah, yeah. You're the man, or you're the woman, you're the female, you're that person. But when you look at the track record, you're like, wait a minute, you haven't followed through with much at all. And so they don't want you to call them on that. And so when you're dealing with that person like that who talks big but rarely follows through, probably a narcissist. Number four, inflexible empathy. Inflexible empathy. And what I mean by inflexible empathy, this is the person, if you call them on what they did, they're gonna deflect. But if you come 5 minutes late, if you come 5 minutes late, they're gonna kill you. They're gonna read you the riot act. They're gonna talk about, wait a minute, how could you do something like this? They're inflexible. They're not gonna be empathetic about you. Okay, it's gonna be like the world is collapsing. They're going to hold you to a higher standard. They're going to be like, hey, you're the person, they want you to be perfect every time, although they are rarely perfect. They're, matter of fact, they are not perfect at all. But the reason they do that, when you disappoint them, the reason they have to bring it to your attention is because a narcissist has to always believe they're bigger than you, better than you, higher notch than you. So whenever you do something wrong, I got to drill you, I got to knock you down 3 levels because it makes me look bigger, better. It makes me look like I should be admired because look at the mistakes you're making. All right? Inflexible empathy. Number five, ooh, they require a lot of validation. They require a lot of validation. So what I was telling about, what I'm talking about in validation, it's not, they don't even want to do it unless they can't get validation. You're a narcissist. Here's what I mean by that. A narcissist doesn't want to do it if they can't get recognized for doing it. They don't want to. If they help someone, give them money. I fed the homeless. The only reason I want to feed the homeless is because you need to know about it. Because I need to get praised about it. I know you ever been around anybody who does something for someone else, but they have to make sure that they tell somebody else that they did it. They cannot do it in silence because if I do it in silence, I cannot get the affirmation, adoration, and validation that I seek so desperately. And so, what I do is, if I do it, I'm going to tell your ass that I did it. And I'm going to keep saying it different ways. That's when I might put the hero's journey on it. Yeah, you know what? I worked all day. And then I went to feed the homeless. You know, I stayed there to 12 o'clock. And then I had to get up at 5 o'clock to be ready again. And they be ready for work again. They're going to be like, wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. And then you're going to be like, wow. And now what do? They get exactly what they want. They get the validation because it's okay for them to say it, but it don't count until you say it or to somebody else, especially if you're in a relationship with them. That's why being in a relationship with a narcissist is so deadly because what you're constantly doing, you're constantly diminishing yourself while you're elevating this person. It is deadly and it's insidious. It happens so subtle. It happens subtle. And you realize later on, you don't feel good about yourself, but you didn't realize that it was happening to you so subtle. It is exhausting. It is exhausting. And so, y'all, you have to be aware. And the longer you stay in a relationship with someone like that, now, if you're married to a person like that, I'm going to tell you what to do with that part probably tomorrow. But what to actually do. But if you're in a relationship with a person like that, get out. Get out. Because do you guys remember Trump would never admit that he's wrong? I'm going to get to that one. That's the last one about admitting you're wrong. But I just need you to. Number six. This is number six, a sign of a narcissist. This is good right here. They violate the rules a lot. You ever seen a narcissist? They feel like anybody that's telling them what to do, you know what, I don't like to take orders. They don't want to take orders from anybody. So they'll do little things like they'll tell you things like this. They'll say, I broke the line. I broke in line. And they didn't even have to break the line, but I broke in line because they want to be defied. They want to defy anyone in power because they want to look like they're in control. That's why they'll say, why did you take the stuff out of the store? They don't even have to because I wanted to. And they'll do things, they will break rules. They will break rules just to defy power so they can look like they're in power. And I'm telling you, if you ever around somebody like that, just doing stuff to make them look like that, I'll give you a prime example of this. There are a lot of young people who ride with people who drive fast, and the dude might be like, you know what? I don't care about the law. I'm gonna drive 100 miles per hour. Be very careful. Do not hang around people like that as a young person, because this person is going to take you down a path. That's how people end up getting killed. Being in situations, they done rob the store just because they want to break the rules, not even have to. Don't even come from a family like that. But then you get caught up. You're entangled with them. Now you're in a situation where you didn't want to do anything like that, but they just did it because they want to look powerful. They want to look like, wow, I can't even believe you did that. I can't believe you took that out of the store. Because you the man. That's narcissism, y'all. Sign of narcissism. Really, really, really. All right, number seven. Number seven is obsessed with status. They're obsessed with status. Now, they talk about things like this. I know this such and such celebrity. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hung out with Ice Cube. Or I hung out with this celebrity. I did this celebrity. And what happens is they want to feel important. And so when they talk about status, oh yeah, I know Barack Obama, he and they just lying. What are they lying like hell? And even if they do know him, they don't hang around them. You know why? Because when they hang around them, they're getting diminished because they can't be the top one on the totem pole. So they'll tell you that they hung around them. They'll tell you, yeah, I know Shonda Rhimes. Yeah, I knew her before, she started writing all of these TV scripts. And they're like, what, for real? All right, because they're obsessed with status, obsessed with it, y'all. I trip out. I know this cat, right? I know this cat always talking about who he knows. And I'm like, this is where I get his, this is where I get them. And this is what I do. I said, you know these people? I said, number one, I don't give a damn if you know them or not. They don't mean that they put their drawers on just like me. Number two, do they know you? Do they know your ass? Will they call you? No, they don't. They don't. They don't like being around me because I call their ass on it. A lot of them will strive to be in very powerful positions. Doctors, lawyers, so sad and really scary. Yes, they do because this need, this need to be validated, this need for affirmation is a mental disorder, y'all. This is the thing. And I'm not saying anybody who wants recognition is a narcissist because I like recognition. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is when it goes overboard, when it goes into these things I'm telling you, then it becomes destructive. And so what I want you to do is understand that. Number 8, this is a big one. Number 8, they give you the silent treatment. When you're in a relationship with a narcissist, many times they won't speak to you because they feel like it's a privilege and an honor to speak to you. They want to punish you by not speaking to you. So what do? They don't speak to you. And then they want you to believe it is a gift. And what you feel like is, why are you not talking to me? And they continue to talk. All this is that's narcissism. And I'm telling you, this silent treatment, what I would do, one of the things you want to do if you get if you get entangled, when you get in a situationship with somebody like that, what you do is, I ain't gonna talk to you either, because you're not that important. Now they might be important, but however, if you do it, you ruin the very thing that they want to do because they want to punish you by not speaking to you. Number 9, signs of a narcissist. I got to get off of here, but I got to give them all to you. Number 9 is lack of praise for others' accomplishments. We call them haters. A true narcissist, I don't care what you do, we cannot, they cannot, they cannot praise somebody else because it'll look like the person is more than them. They cannot even nothing positive to say about such and such. Oh, they got a raise on the job. Well, the only reason they got the raise because they sleeping with the boss. But the only reason they got the raise because they know such and such, but they didn't earn it. It's never positive, and that's how you know. Whenever you hear people who talk like that, be weary. Narcissism is around the corner. All right, number 10, false entitlement. False entitlement. Man, you know what? That means they feel like, listen to this. They're entitled to everything you have. You're in a relationship with them. They might say, hey, I need you to bring me some lunch. But you're like, I'm at work. And then they say, well, okay. They feel like what their needs are more important than what you're doing at any given time. They feel like I'm entitled to everything you have if you're in a relationship with me. I'm entitled to your money. I'm entitled to your time. And you need to push everything else to the side for me. It's false entitlement. But what happens is this. Here's the insidious nature of it. Is when you begin doing it, you think I'm gonna just go out of my way. The person's gonna like me. But what happens is when you begin feeding the beast, when you begin denying yourself, when you begin saying, okay, I can come back to work a little bit late to make sure that I get the salad for him, or to make sure I go way across town to get him the Chipotle that he wants. All right, I'm telling you, this false entitlement is insidious because you'll start with something small, then it'll grow to something bigger, and something bigger. Then it'll be sexual favors, sexual things. Well, I want us to have a threesome. Then you get pulled into something that is not based on your values, but this narcissism it's insidious. Just so you know. Number 11, failure to commit. Most of them don't want to commit. Now, if you're married to one already, but they don't want to commit to other things, you ask them to do something. Okay, they'll say things like, I don't want no labels. I don't want any labels. Don't label what we got going on. Don't label what we doing and all of this and all of that. Hmm. Whenever you get that, okay, they want the benefits without the commitment. They want the cow without paying for it. I'm just telling you. And last but not least, they never admit they're wrong. I don't care what they do, they will find out, make it someone else's problem. Someone else is the cause. Someone else is the reason. Someone else is, oh, I didn't get promoted because I'm a black man. Because they want white men are this or white people are that, or I didn't get promoted because I came to spend time with you. I took Saturdays off, and those Saturdays are what they um, determine who would get the promotion. And because I wasn't there, because I was spending time with you and your kids, now I didn't get the promotion. All right. Now, if they hurt your feelings, they say things like, just get over it. They'll just get over it. Ain't no big thing. If they if they shatter something, it all, it ain't in the world. I just want you to get over that. They never admit they're wrong. And they'll change the subject, even if you try to corner them in. And what I always tell narcissists is this. Obviously, you're not going to admit you're wrong because you believe the behavior you've exhibited is acceptable. But the truth is, it is not acceptable. It is not acceptable to me. And I'm moving on. That's my time. I'm Ken Canion, host of Love, Lust, and Lies. And remember, every journey starts with one step. Take yours today. Peace.